Hi everyone, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. This is the daily forecast for all signs. It is a broad spectrum. We're going to start speaking in broad terms. You need to figure out if and where this reading fits in your life, if at all. If it doesn't fit, that's okay. It doesn't mean anything's broken or wrong. It just might mean you're working on something different at this time. It's originally created for Saturday, the 14th of January, but it is not solely set for that date. I do believe that readings are timeless. If you're seeing this reading on a different date and it still makes sense to your life, by all means, utilize it. Take what you need and leave the rest. For those of you that are new, please check out the drop-down menu underneath any of my daily videos. In there, excuse me, my nose is running. It's a little cold outside. In there is general housekeeping rules, things I want you to think about when utilizing my readings, what decks I'm using, how to contact me on social media if you want a private reading, what else? And easy ways to support the channel. You can do that by hitting the thumbs up button, subscribing to the channel, leaving me a question or comment, or sharing the video out. Let's see where these cards want us to go today, what they want us to know. Okay, Spirit, what is the message for today? All right, we have Judgment. I love this Judgment card. It's absolutely beautiful. Judgment is associated with Scorpio energy. It is major arcana. It is about answering the higher call. It is about rising above a situation, taking a more spiritual take on it, seeing sort of the higher version or bigger picture, rising up, taking the higher road, trusting the universe and what's going on around us. I will say in the Sunday underpinning reading, which populates in the lower left-hand corner at the end of this video, underpinning this is the Tower, which is also major arcana. There could be big shifts and changes going on for us right now, but these changes are spiritually guided with Judgment being here. Judgment is asking us to sort of trust, whether it's our own spiritual intuition or the shifting of a situation. We need to trust that the hand of, Spirit, God, our guardian angels, our guides, whatever, is involved in whatever changes we might be facing or dealing with. Yesterday's reading in the clarifiers, we also saw the Tower. So whether this Tower is happening to us, around us, or, to somebody that we love, where we're watching their shifts and changes happening, we need to realize that there's an opportunity here to grow, to change, to rise, essentially, to that higher calling, to that higher spiritual wisdom, to that more like intuitional, guided kind of feeling, right? Or insight. There is an opportunity for growth here. There is an opportunity for change here. And this change, although it may be at first feeling a bit uncomfortable because of the Tower's presence, Judgment kind of settles us into that place of acceptance where we understand it serves a higher purpose. We understand that, Spirit is involved at some level. At actually probably a very large level. It's how conscious of it are we going to be, right? And Judgment reminds us to remain conscious, remain open, remain available to the changes that can be taking place, or that the requirements that are being asked of us, even if they're asking us to sort of rise up, take the higher road or a different perspective. This perspective is going to offer us a sense of, awareness that we didn't otherwise have, a higher spiritual awareness. I'm also going to say this. I get this sense, and this is not necessarily always a Judgment card meaning, but I get this sense that there's this healing that comes out of this for ourselves if we allow it and we move towards it, if we embrace it. It's similar to, when I say in Judgment, or I'm sorry, in the Tower, it's that let go or be dragged. This is sort of the opportunity to make the choice or answer the call and let go and be guided to flow with it. And in that flow, we're taken to a higher perspective, more healed space or awareness that gives us insight, that empowers us, really. I mean, we may not be the one at the driver's seat in this situation, because oftentimes judgment is bigger than us. It's more spiritual, it's more environmental, or situations around us that are steering us in a certain direction. But being aware and connected to that steering or that guidance enables us to make the most of it, to hear the call, to answer the call, to rise up and do the right thing or make the right decision. And sometimes, that decision may not be about making a decision or taking any action. It's just about being okay within the situation as it transforms and changes. And that's kind of the feeling that I get with this. There's almost a sense of awakening or peace involved here. This angel to me feels like it's coming in to, I don't want to say protect us, but to guide us in a way that's safe and healing and reassuring. But, it requires us to have faith, to have trust, to have in ourselves, in the situation, in another, even if they're not necessarily maybe acting or turning out the way that we expected them to. Does that make sense? Because that could be the shift and change of the tower. Ultimately, judgment is bringing us something higher, better, more spiritually sound or centered than we otherwise expected or realized, okay? Now, here is the absolute affirmations, and I think this is funny that this shows up. I am surrounded by positive energy. We've seen this 3 times this week. This rainbow, to me, rainbows are oftentimes, magical symbols of good luck and all of that, but it also represents kind of all of the different colors in our auric field, our energy aligning and maybe shooting forward in harmony. Let me read this to you. Create an environment for yourself that makes you feel strong and supported. Take time to personalize your space and find a place for each item, both at home and at work. By maintaining your physical space, you welcome in an atmosphere of uplifting energy in which you are able to foster happiness, resilience, and positive relationships. So I do think that the changes of the tower and the question or the proposition that the judgment card asks us to rise to brings us to a state of a more positive awareness, a difference in alignment that is it's like more powerful or more what's the word I'm looking for? It's like, I don't want to say magical, but it's more like spiritually centered than we realized was possible in a situation that might have seemed challenging or insurmountable. I feel like this judgment card is telling us we can transform within the change of the tower in a very positive way. We just need to remind ourselves that we are there making that conscious choice as the changes take place. We're choosing or stepping up, answering the call to rise higher, gain that bigger perspective, open up our mind, our heart, our spirit to other options or other opportunities, even if we don't understand the changes that are taking place or we didn't expect them. The other card here that just shows up is I'm a magnet for loving kindness. So I think, again, that's about keeping that compassionate, bigger picture view of and being in loving kindness and allowing the things that belong to us or that we need, deserve, or desire to be magnetized to us rather than fight against them or hold on to something so tightly that we struggle within that tower energy. Let's go to the clarifiers and see what they have to say. We have the 7 of Pentacles. Remember when I said in judgment it's not necessarily about taking action? The 7 of Pentacles kind of indicates that a little bit to me. The 7 of Pentacles it's a grounded card, right? But it's about taking stock in a situation, person, thing, career, whatever it is that we're looking at that might be transforming in front of us and allowing it to transform, allowing ourselves to rise up, but also understanding that there's fruit to be borne from this. There's work that we've put in, there's effort, energy, attention that we've put in, and that there is a harvest available. The harvest may not be now. We might need to allow the tower to fall and to rise to that, higher understanding, and then see what is either rebuilt or replaced, or what we can rebuild or replace within the space that this tower creates for ourselves. The Seven of Pentacles would indicate that sort of nurturing kind of attention and contemplation that we need during this time. The second card is Knight of Wands, which is associated with Sagittarius. He's about kind of rushing in, sometimes impulsively, having a lot of passion, direction, desire, inspiration. He can be about new messages or new spiritual inspiration that we're feeling during this time. I kind of get this feeling that he's indicating that most of us, excuse me, I hope I'm not getting sick, that most of us should embrace this change, that should embrace this shift or this call. The Knight of Wands to me feels ready to answer the call, right? He's inspired and fiery enough and desirous enough to jump in and experience whatever is going on, shifting or changing, from a place of malleability and spiritual security. The other thing is sometimes he can be seen as impulsive and lacking staying power, but I don't get that from this card because of this Seven of Pentacles. The groundedness and the sort of contemplation of the Seven of Pentacles says to me that, coupled with the Knight of Wands, we have the ability to take action. We have the strength and the, servitude or loyalty to see this through. And also the practicality or the discernment to know when to take action and when not to. So there is opportunities here. I think almost like there's times to not take action and contemplate today, and then there might be times to step forward or to make a decision, make a choice, and act on that choice at the right time. But we have to be paying attention and listening to whatever judgment is trying to get through to us, or whatever the call is that we're expecting to answer, right? The Judgment card can also be about, soulmates and things like that. These higher connections, and honoring those connections in a very real, grounded way, but also in a way that is spiritually centered and in desire of a positive outcome. The last card is the Four of Cups. So I feel like with the Four of Cups can sometimes indicate boredom or indolence, indecision, or a refusal to kind of emotionally sign on to something, right? But I feel like this Four of Cups is about making sure that we are emotionally sound during whatever transformations or changes are taking place. Like really reviewing and contemplating. I get more of a contemplation similar to the Seven of Pentacles here that says to us, don't rush to any decisions, even if we feel as though we want to, with the Knight of Wands here. But when we have that emotional sort of foundation and awareness, we'll know which is the right choice. We'll know through the Seven of Pentacles, we'll know what our abilities are and what requires our attention and deserves our attention, and we'll steer our attention in that correct direction. But it will need to feel right to us. That's the Four of Cups. It will need to feel in alignment to whatever is going on with us at a deeper spiritual level, that we're sensing during maybe any turmoil, shifts, or changes that the Tower presents. Now let's go to the grounding stone. The other thing I'll say about this Four of Cups is that it makes me think of that stone for the week, which is meditation, and he looks like he's meditating by the tree. If we are meditating or we are reflecting, especially because we see that in the Seven of Pentacles too, make sure that it feels like it's in a strong, foundationally sound emotional alignment with how we feel and what we know to be right. That's also the Four of Cups there. When we know that, I feel like the Knight of Wands is ready to take fire or take action, to make movement, to move forward in a way that is productive and inspired. Here is the grounding stone for the day. It's on Tiger's Eye, and the word is forgive. So, if this Tower situation is around, say, a loss of a job, or a loss of a relationship, a loss of a friendship, or, a breakdown in communication, I think first and foremost, the most important thing, and especially with this Four of Cups here, is we need to forgive ourselves emotionally first and foremost, with whatever, our part may be in the situation, or if we are even involved in the situation. I also think that there's a level of forgiveness that needs to take place for the changes that are happening, because oftentimes the tower can signify, which underpins this, can signify change that was unexpected or maybe unwanted, and our instant response is to want to resist, which would also be some of the Four of Cups energy. But I think that there's an opportunity through the Four of Cups and the contemplation of the Seven of Pentacles to kind of ground ourselves, center ourselves emotionally, and take action or move forward. But we may need to forgive the situation, the outcome, or the shifts and changes that are happening during it. When we get into that state of forgiveness, what we do is we free ourselves and we free the situation to transform into whatever it is that we need it to be, whether we understand what that actual change is, if that makes sense. This forgiveness releases us from any, karma, past held beliefs, guilt, shame, frustration, outcomes, all of that. And in that forgiveness, because remember, I am a magnet for loving kindness, and forgiveness would be a form of that loving kindness. First, we want to give it to ourselves and then apply it within the situation, or reside within it, within the situation, and allow the situation to transform. Understand that to me, there feels like there's a little bit of an aspect of divine timing involved in this reading. So we have to trust that what is going on around us, as it goes on around us, and what's being asked of us is actually for our highest good. And align into that, ground into that, and understand that anything that's worth having does take work and requires reflection and contemplation, even meditation. Forgive yourself, forgive others, forgive situations that don't turn out the way we expect, and allow ourselves to be freed from them so that we can rise to a higher, greater perspective and watch that positive energy and that loving kindness magnetize to us what it is we do deserve. That is your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, share the video out, and leave me a question or comment. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for the new weekly. Take care. Bye-bye.